You can minimize that one, the roses one if you want. It's up to you. Keep it up, doesn't really matter. This one will open up right over it. And once you open it up, make sure you make a duplicate copy of it. You'll want to unlock that layer, rename it. And again, in this example, we're going to look at how to kind of use a combination of the two color tools. So we want to select this butterfly. And so go ahead, try using your magic wand to select it. Once you have it to how you like it, go to the layer, new, layer via copy. Kind of check out your selection. You can recolor it if you want. Alright, and if you're like me, you're going to miss some spots. The downside to the magic wand is it doesn't do all that great with gradients. And that's going to be one of those times where the color range method will be better. So you can see I have oranges kind of blotched all over that I missed. So I'm going to hide that layer right now, and I'm going to try going back to the background layer and using the other method. So select color range. And my invert button's still on there. I want to turn that off. Select a nice orange color. Then put that into a new layer. Preview my selection. And then I can change the color of that and see how much better, see if it's any better. Alright, so I'm just going to show you my two different selections here. This one was made using the lasso, or the magic wand, and it's pretty obvious to see the spots that I missed. This one was used using the color range, and again I missed some spots. So neither one of these methods really worked all that great. So now I'm going to show you a way to kind of use a combination tool, selection tool. And this tool, so yesterday we looked at tools that let us select shapes. Today, so far, we've looked at tools that let us select colors. Now I'm going to show you a tool that takes into consideration both color and shape. And if you click on that magic wand tool and hold behind it, there's something called the quick selection tool. That's the one we want. And put your cursor over onto your image now. You should get a crosshairs. And depending on how big, this uses a brush to do this. And if you remember from Illustrator, we can adjust the size of our brush using the 2 bracket keys on our keyboard. So find the letter P on your keyboard. The bracket to the left of that will make your brush smaller. The bracket to the right of that will make it bigger. So you don't want to go too big, or else you're going to select everything inside of that. So something nice would be about this. I can get into the tips of the wings pretty easily. And you'll find that you're going to go back and forth quite a bit. And then when you click and drag, it's going to find any type of definition that it can find. And there's going to be one part, well, there could be a couple parts on here. As you get into smaller areas, you're going to want to lower the size of the brush. And right by the head, and there's going to be a part by the bottom wing that selects too much, probably for everybody. So I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to make my brush a little smaller. Notice how in the center of my brush there's a plus sign. That means add to the selection. If I hold down the Alt button, it turns into a minus sign. That will subtract from the current selection. So I can just go over those spots that did a little too much and remove it. Once you have the outline of the butterfly selected, so in my opinion that's one of the quickest and easiest tools to select. But obviously if I try to do the full color, wouldn't work because there's black in here. You could sit around and play with it, but that would take a while. So what I would suggest is we're going to copy this onto a new layer now. Now I'm just going to hide my background so you guys can kind of see how it worked out. So it gave me a very definitive selection of the main object, but there's still all these details and other colors inside of it. So now I'm going to use the select color range. Now I'm going to actually click on the black, and then I'm going to do the invert. And on mine, I can slide my slider all the way up and it still gives me it's going to give me a good selection. Now when you have something that you like, click OK. So now everything's selected except for that black. And now when I go to my hue saturation, it's going to give me a much better selection. So that's a good example of how we can kind of start combining some of these. That quick selection will give you maybe the general shape, put that into a new layer, and then use one of the other selection tools along with it. So if you want to look up at the screen, if you can kind of take a look at method 1, which was using the magic wand tool, clearly not good enough. 2 was using just that color range command, and then this was a combination of the quick selection tool with the color range. Alright, and then the last thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to select that background. Actually, you could just change the whole color of the thing because we have a copy on top of it. So I'm just going to tone it down so that way my butterfly stands out.